Flora's POV. I have something important to tell you on our 5th anniversary, Donovan, my boyfriend, said this morning. I was nervous but mostly excited. This could only mean one thing, right? He's going to propose. I spent all day preparing. My dress hugged my figure perfectly, and I'd taken extra care with my makeup. The cursed claw-shaped scar on my face was hidden beneath layers of concealer. I even wore colored contact lenses to cover my heterochromia. Donovan always said my two-colored eyes looked strange, though they were a part of who I was. Anyways, tonight would be the night everything changed. Once we mated, my curse would finally be broken. I sat nervously at Crimson Moon Cafe, glancing at my wristwatch. He was late, so I decided to call him, but all I got was the cold, automated prompt telling me to leave a voicemail. Hey baby, where are you? I've been waiting for you for an hour. Call me back as soon as you get this voice message, okay? I ended the call with a shaky breath, but the thought that he might be planning a surprise for our 5th anniversary had me grinning from ear to ear. Have you decided what to order, miss? The waiter asked politely. I glanced up and shook my head. No, I'm waiting for someone. The waiter left, and I sighed, glancing at the cake in front of me, a cake I'd made myself for this perfect night. I'd imagined us sharing it together, laughing and reminiscing about our years together. Flora. My heart leapt at the sound of his voice. He's here. I turned with a bright smile, but my excitement evaporated in an instant. Donovan wasn't alone. A girl clung to his arm, her lips curling into a smug smile. She was familiar, too familiar. My stomach churned. Donovan? And Layla. My voice trembled as I looked between them. What's going on? What is she doing here? Donovan's expression was cold and detached. Something about his gaze made my chest tighten with dread. Meet my mate, Layla, he said with a smirk, his tone dripping with arrogance. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. The words didn't make sense. What? Are you serious, Donovan? The restaurant grew quiet as people began to notice the scene. My voice rose, and I stood, my heart hammering in my chest. He sighed, as if my pain was an inconvenience to him. You're being naive, Flora. A werewolf is always going to choose their mate. You should have known this. My chest tightened. But you promised, I cried, my voice cracking. You said that even if you found your mate, you'd reject her. You said we'd be together, no matter what. Come on, Flora. Let's be honest. I was only with you because of your money. Now that your father's gone and leaving a huge debt on you, there's nothing keeping me here, he sneered. And honestly, you're too old-fashioned. You wouldn't even have sex with me. What kind of a fucking relationship is that? Suddenly, Layla's laugh was sharp, cutting through the tension like shattered glass. I remember how she bullied me when we were classmates, every cruel word, every violent shove. No one even wants you around, you hybrid freak. Her cold laughter and harsh insults echoed in my ears like it was just yesterday. Seeing her now, clinging to Donovan with that same smug smile, made my stomach twist with fury. She tilted her head, her fingers brushing against the fresh mark on her neck as if daring me to look. Oh, Flora, check this, she said, her voice dripping with cruelty. He's mine now. She leaned in closer, her smirk widening as she scanned me from head to toe. Look at you, sitting there all dressed up like you actually had a chance. It's pathetic. Did you really think Donovan would waste his future on you? Layla laughed again, harsher this time, and picked up the cake I had made. With a mocking smile, she tilted it toward me. Is this what you thought would impress him? A homemade cake? Then, without warning, she tipped it over, letting it slide off the plate and onto the floor with a loud splat. Oops. Sorry, you lowly hybrid freak, she laughed again, with the stupid Donovan. Something inside me snapped. Without thinking, I grabbed the cake from the floor and hurled it at them. The satisfying splat of frosting hitting their smug faces. Layla shrieked, trying to wipe the mess off her designer dress. Oh my goddess. Crazy freak, what have you done? I hope you both rot in hell, I shouted with all my strength and stormed out of the restaurant. When I got home, the adrenaline drained from my body, leaving me exhausted and broken. My reflection in the mirror stopped me in my tracks. My makeup was smudged, and the red claw-shaped scar on my cheek was visible again, a reminder of the curse that still loomed over me. I sank to the floor, tears streaming down my face. 1 month, I whispered. That's all the time I had left before my 18th birthday. If I wasn't marked by then, I would die. The thought made my chest tighten. I'd spent years being faithful, waiting for Donovan to fulfill his promise. But he betrayed me in the worst possible way. No more like this. If he didn't want me, I'd find someone who would. I reapplied my makeup to make my face flawless again. I slipped into a revealing red dress that clung to my body. An hour later, I arrived at the Howling Den, a bar notorious for its rowdy crowd of werewolves. The air was thick with the scent of alcohol and the electric energy of wolves letting loose. As I walked in, heads turned, and I felt the hungry stares of men following my every move. My plan was reckless but simple: find a pure-blooded werewolf, seduce him, and let him mark me. Tonight. Floor's POV. Another round, please, I muttered, tapping my glass against the bar. The bartender raised an eyebrow but obliged, sliding another shot of whiskey toward me. I downed it in one gulp, the fiery burn spreading through my chest like a fleeting distraction from the storm brewing inside me. I needed this, the liquid courage. The numbness. Anything to drown the nervous knot in my stomach. I didn't think you'd be this strong with your drinks, teased the man sitting beside me. I glanced at him, trying to muster a demure smile while keeping my emotions in check. You'd be surprised, I replied, tilting my glass slightly toward him before turning my focus back to the room. At first, I had kept to myself, lingering in the shadowed corner of the bar, pretending not to notice the occasional glances sent my way. I wasn't used to attention, let alone seeking it out. For years, I'd been invisible, the girl no one remembered, the outsider in the pack. But tonight, I had to stand out. Someone had noticed me, but, unfortunately, it wasn't the one I was waiting for. The man placed a hand on my thigh, his touch making my stomach churn. I suppressed the urge to recoil and instead offered a playful smirk. You've got strong hands, I said, hoping my voice didn't betray my unease. His grin widened. And you've got strong drinks. I like that. I reached for another shot, letting the burn steady my nerves. The crowd around me was alive, more than usual. The thrum of the music, the sway of bodies moving in sync, and the thick scent of sweat and alcohol filled the air. A nearby sign caught my eye: Werewolf Night. Fate had a cruel sense of humor. The thought made me snort. This would make things easier, though. A pureblood was bound to be here somewhere. I just had to find him. I let the hybrid man beside me buy me another drink, playing along for the moment. It was safer to blend in, to act like I was just another carefree woman looking for a good time. But every time my mind drifted to why I was really here, my mood soured. Memories of Donovan's betrayal clawed at the edges of my thoughts. I made sure that my cleavage pops out. Who's the saint one now? Bastard, I muttered under my breath, gripping the glass tighter. Are you talking about me? The man leaned closer, his cocky grin making my skin crawl. Maybe I am, I replied, forcing confidence into my voice. His grin widened, clearly enjoying the challenge. Feisty. I like that. He gestured to the bartender. 2 shots. Let's make this interesting. I raised an eyebrow, feigning intrigue. Interesting how? He slid one of the shots toward me. A drinking contest. If I win, you will spend the night with me. Relief washed over me. This, I could handle. My father had made sure of that. Growing up, he'd beaten me down, forced me to drink until I could barely stand. It was one of the few things I was good at. Deal, I said, grabbing the shot. His cocky expression faltered for a split second, but he quickly recovered. All right, sweetheart. Don't say I didn't warn you. We clinked glasses and downed the first round. Then the second. And the third. By the 5th shot, I was steady as ever, but he was swaying on his stool. After 10 minutes, by the 7th, he slumped forward, his head hitting the bar with a loud thud. Cheers erupted around us, and I felt my cheeks flush. I wasn't used to this, people celebrating me. For years, I'd been the quiet one, the outsider. But tonight, I felt alive. The men who'd once overlooked me were now cheering me on, clapping me on the back. For a moment, I allowed myself to smile. But the moment was fleeting. I wasn't here for fun. I had a mission. As the crowd settled, I felt it, a strange sensation, like someone's eyes were boring into me. My smile faded, and I scanned the room. That's when I saw him. He stood near the edge of the room, leaning casually against the wall. But there was nothing casual about his presence. Tall, broad-shouldered, with sharp features that looked like they'd been carved from marble. His dark eyes locked onto mine, and in that moment, the noise of the bar seemed to fade away. He wasn't like the others. His aura was commanding and powerful. A pure-blood werewolf. I took a deep breath and stepped off my stool, weaving through the crowd. Each step felt heavier than the last, my heart pounding in my chest. I could feel his eyes tracking my every move, the intensity of his gaze sending shivers down my spine. But just as I neared him, someone grabbed my wrist. "Where are you going, gorgeous?" I turned to see another man, his grin wide and predatory. Before I could pull away, he yanked me onto the dance floor. The music pulsed around us, and his hands were suddenly on my waist, pulling me closer than I liked. My instincts screamed at me to push him away, but I forced myself to stay calm. If I caused a scene, I might lose sight of the pure blood. So I let him lead me in a stiff, awkward dance. My eyes darted around, searching for the man who had captivated me. And there he was. He was moving now, cutting through the crowd with a purposeful stride. His eyes never left mine, and the weight of his gaze made my breath hitch. The man dancing with me leaned in, his breath hot against my ear. "Relax, sweetheart. You're too tense." But I couldn't relax. Not when the pure blood was closing in. "Mind if I cut in?" The deep, smooth voice sent a chill down my spine. I turned to find him standing there, towering over both me and my unwanted dance partner. Floor's POV. The other man scowled but quickly backed off when he saw the pureblood's expression. I was frozen, caught in the stranger's piercing gaze. He held out a hand, his lips curving into a faint, confident smile. "Care to dance?" he asked, his voice low and commanding. "No, I don't want to dance with you." He paused at my words, clearly not expecting my answer. His brows furrowed, and the intensity in his eyes burned into me, a mixture of challenge and curiosity. "Are you sure about that?" he murmured, stepping just a little closer. "Because you sound like you're trying to convince yourself, not me." I swallowed hard, caught off guard for a split second before regaining my composure. A slow smirk tugged at my lips as I tilted my head slightly. "Instead, how about we ditch this dance floor and you take me somewhere else?" The moment I took his hand, I pulled him away from the pulsing lights and the crowd lost in the music. As we stepped away, I stole a glance at him. His presence was intoxicating, his scent laced with something undeniably alluring. When we reached the stairway leading to the bar's upper floors, he finally spoke. "You're drunk." I met his gaze with a forced smile. "Nope, I'm not." His eyes darkened slightly, studying me. I held his gaze, refusing to look away, silently daring him to see through me. "Take me somewhere else," I whispered, my voice softer than I intended. My fingers grazed his wrist, hesitant yet deliberate, as if testing his reaction. "Be careful what you ask for," he mutters, his voice low, dangerous. The way his gaze lingered made my breath hitch, heat pricking my skin. Without a word, he pulled me upstairs. As we ascended, a voice floated up from below. "I see you have company tonight, sir." A woman stood behind the bar, her tone light yet courteous. The man gave her a nod and she offered a knowing smile, chuckling softly as she stared at me before dipping her head slightly. "The VIP room upstairs is prepared for you, as always, sir." "Who is she?" My voice was steadier than I expected as we reached the upper floor. "Just no one." He pushed open the door to a dimly lit VIP room, leading me inside. The atmosphere shifted, no flashing lights, no deafening music. Just silence, thick and heavy. The moment he released me, I felt the absence of his touch like a sudden drop in temperature. He stepped back, unreadable, his presence still filling the space. I hesitated before lowering myself onto the plush couch, my fingers twisting in my lap. My nerves coiled tight. "I'll leave you here for rest." Panic surged through me as he turned to leave. "What? Where are you going?" He stopped, looking down at me with sharp eyes. "Did something go wrong for you?" His voice was calm, but it carried a weight that made my breath catch. "You look young, and you shouldn't be in a place like this." "No, I'm not new here. I've been here before, like a lot," I said smoothly, forcing a confident smile as I met his gaze. Please, stay here with me. My voice was low and deliberately sensual. Why did this feel so forced? Why did my own words sound hollow? I needed this. I had to do this. And yet, a strange hesitation clawed at the back of my mind. You don't need to lie to me, he suddenly turned around, this time looking me straight in the eyes. At that moment, I suddenly became afraid of him. I hesitated, the truth clawing at my throat. I had planned to seduce him, not spill my vulnerabilities, yet the way he looked at me made it impossible to lie. My boyfriend, I whispered, the words escaping my lips with an almost painful slowness, as if each syllable carried the weight of years of disbelief. He cheated on me, on our 5th anniversary, saying he found his true mate and laughed at me, like I was nothing. Like I wasn't the love he swore I'd be. He said I wasn't good enough, and... My voice cracked, shame tightening around my throat. The words felt raw, exposed, and I hated that I had let them slip. But he didn't react the way I expected. He didn't sneer, didn't show pity. He simply studied me in silence. Then, finally, he spoke. You should be resting. He turned again, ready to leave. Panic hit me hard. I grabbed his wrist again, tightening my grip and pulling him closer. I came here for a one-night stand with you. That made him pause. His dark eyes narrowed slightly. Because you're a pure-blood wolf. A shadow flickered across his face. Do you think you can trust a pure-blood wolf? He asked, his voice quiet yet laced with suspicion. Aren't you worried I might be a bad guy? Oh wait, is this some kind of setup from Vicky? Vicky? I repeated, confused. Who's Vicky? I don't know anyone by that name. His expression shifted slightly, though skepticism still lingered in his gaze. But, you don't want to find your true mate? To be marked by your mate? The weight of his words pressed against me. I swallowed hard. I don't have time for that, I admitted, shaking my head. Something in his demeanor softened, though it was barely noticeable. Don't say that. Don't do something you'll regret, he said quietly. I tightened my grip on his arm, my whole body trembling. I won't regret it, I whispered, the words tasting like a lie even as they left my lips. Tears burned at the edges of my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. Because tonight, you're the perfect one for me. And before I could second-guess myself, I grabbed him and pulled him toward me. The sudden movement caught him off guard, and he lost his balance, falling forward, right on top of me. His body pressed against mine, heat radiating between us. My breath hitched as his dark eyes bore into mine, something fierce, something unreadable swirling within them. He didn't move. Neither did I. Then, his voice, low and firm. You don't know what you're asking for. My heart pounded, my throat dry. Then show me. And then, I leaned in, my breath hot against his skin. Alaric's POV. Are you going to Bella's wolf party, brother? My sister Vicky asked, her tone steady as the door to my office swung open. I dropped my glasses onto the desk with a sigh, already bracing myself for what was coming. No. Why? I asked, trying to keep the frustration from slipping out. I knew exactly where this was going. Because you need to get out of this rut, she said, crossing her arms over her chest. It's been 5 years, Alaric. You can't keep hiding away. I clenched my fists, the memories of her still fresh and raw. I'm not interested in meeting anyone, I muttered, my voice thick with unresolved emotions. Vicky's expression softened. I get it, Vanessa hurt you. But you need to relax a bit. You're not going to heal in isolation. The mention of her name hit me like a punch to the gut, but I forced my face into neutrality. I wasn't going to show weakness, not now. I'm fine, I replied, though the words felt hollow in my mouth. Vicky wasn't convinced. Mom's already talking about the heir, you know, she continued, her voice low and serious. For Moonvalley's future, I suggest you take the initiative to pick your Luna. If Mom starts meddling, trust me, you won't like it. I knew she was right. The weight of the pack's expectations, the whispers of doubt, whether I was fit to lead or not, pressed down on me like a vice. Some even thought I was gay, or worse, that I couldn't produce. I stood, the tension in my muscles evident. Fine, I muttered, my voice laced with defeat. I'll go to the damn party. Vicky's triumphant smile was the last thing I saw before she left the room. Frustration boiled inside me, but there was no other choice. The moment I walked into the bar, the noise hit me like a physical force, laughter, music, chatter, all blending into a haze. Alpha, you made it. Bella greeted me with a surprised smile. I gave her a brief nod in return. Vicky insisted. Just call me sir here, I muttered. Bella smiled knowingly, her eyes glimmering with understanding. She asked me to make sure you're comfortable tonight. I exhaled slowly, my jaw tightening. You shouldn't take Vicky so seriously, I said, my tone firm but not unkind. She nodded courtly. I wouldn't dare make decisions for you, sir, she said, but a little enjoyment wouldn't hurt, would it? I shrugged. I guess. Bella guided me toward a private VIP room. As I stepped inside, my gaze landed on 3 elegantly dressed women seated comfortably on the plush couches. Their poised expressions shifted the moment they saw me, their eyes glimmering with intrigue. It was clear they had been briefed on my arrival. Sir, Bella said smoothly, offering an honorific nod in my direction. These lovely ladies will be your company for the evening. I trust they'll make sure you enjoy yourself. One of the women, a striking brunette, smiled with confidence. Of course, Bella, she said, her tone warm but measured. Before I could respond, Bella stepped out, closing the door behind her. The air in the room subtly shifted as the 3 women turned their attention toward me, not with overbearing eagerness, but with quiet, knowing interest. One of them leaned forward slightly. Would you like something to drink, handsome? We have a fine selection. Her approach was bold, yet there was no desperation, only intrigue and a quiet acknowledgement of my status. Another woman gently rested a hand on the back of my chair, her presence calm and controlled. Just relax, handsome. Their interest was obvious, the way they lingered, the way they tried to pull me in. But it did nothing for me. I had no time for this. Enough. I need some fresh air. Without another glance, I walked out. As I made my way to the bar, my eyes scanned the room, and that's when I saw a special girl, a hybrid, I can tell. She was sitting alone, drinking a couple of drinks. There was something effortlessly captivating about her, a quiet beauty that seemed to pull at something deep inside me. I couldn't explain it, but I was drawn to her. Then, our eyes met. Time seemed to slow. My heart raced in my chest, my mind reeling with confusion. What the hell was this? Before I could make my move, I saw her dancing with another man. His hand was on her waist, and she was laughing, caught up in the moment. Without thinking, I shoved my way through the crowd, my body moving on its own accord. This was stupid. I didn't even know what I was doing, but I couldn't stand the sight of her with him. My wolf growled low in my mind, a strange yet overwhelming sense of possessiveness surging through me. I knew I had to have her. Flora's POV. The tension between us snapped as I pressed my lips against his. For a moment, his body went completely still, and I could feel the way his muscles tensed beneath my touch. It was as if he was frozen in place, caught between shock and hesitation. The silence between us stretched, making my heart pound harder. A flicker of doubt crossed my mind. Had I made a mistake? But just as I was about to pull away, thinking this might be moving too fast, I felt it. His grip on me tightened slightly. His breath, uneven for a split second, fanned against my skin. And then, after what felt like forever, he kissed me back. His lips were warm, no, scorching. His tongue moved against mine, and the sensation sent a shiver down my spine. It was something more, something intense that made my heart pound in my chest. And then, his warmth, his entire presence, wrapped around me like a fire I couldn't escape from. The way his body pressed against mine made it impossible to ignore the pull between us. I didn't even think as my hands instinctively reached for his shirt, desperate to remove the fabric that was in my way. But just as my fingers found the hem of his shirt, ready to pull it off, he suddenly stopped me. His hand caught mine gently but firmly, halting my movements. My heart dropped. I swallowed hard, my breath coming out in uneven gasps. Why are you stopping me? I breathed out. It's going too fast, he whispered, his voice low and sexy. I wasn't going to let this moment slip away. Instead of backing down, I leaned in again, my lips fondling over his, teasing him. My fingers flexed against his chest, testing his firmness. I know you've been looking at me, I murmured, my voice dripping with amusement. Ever since we were on the dance floor. The whole night, actually. His eyes darkened. How are you sure about that? He whispered. A chuckle escaped me. You think I don't know why you're here? I continued, my voice low and taunting. You came here for fun, just like every other werewolf at Howling Den. Silence fell between us. I could hear nothing but the rapid beating of my own heart. His eyes were dangerous, magnetic. I felt myself being drawn in, even as I pushed him further. Then, he finally spoke. You're not the first woman I've met here. Something sharp coiled in my chest at his words, but I kept my expression neutral. Is that so? I mused, lifting an eyebrow. Then tell me, who were they? I could see the way his eyes traveled, moving down to my lips before flicking back up to meet mine again. There was something unreadable in his expression, something dark and restrained. I was introduced to 3 beautiful women in a VIP room, he finally said. A slow smirk played on my lips as I tilted my head. But you're here, right now, with me. So I guess they didn't interest you? I asked, watching him closely. He nodded, then this time he stared at me with his mesmerizing eyes. They were hungry. Filled with something unspoken. A pull. A need. It was as if he wanted to continue what had started between us, but something inside him was holding him back. I reached out, my fingers tracing over his chest, feeling the warmth of his skin through the fabric of his shirt. Then, without thinking, I pressed my palm flat against his chest, feeling the steady rhythm of his heartbeat beneath my touch. I'm not like them, you know, I murmured, my voice soft yet laced with confidence. You remember what I told you earlier, don't you? I continued, my voice unwavering. My boyfriend cheated on me. He shattered something inside me. And because of that, I just want to feel like myself again. I swallowed hard, willing him to buy my story. I just want to forget, even for a little while. He didn't respond right away. Think this through, he said at last, his voice firm, yet there was something almost thoughtful about it. Because I know you'll regret this in the morning. His words should have made me stop. Should have made me think twice. But instead, I bent closer, wrapping my arms around his waist, pressing myself against him. I won't regret anything, I whispered, my lips barely inches from his. I want to live in the moment. I studied his face, searching for a reaction. If you don't want me, then make a choice, I said, shrugging as I let my hands drop. I'll find someone else. But tonight, I want to get laid. There it was. The blunt truth. No sugarcoating. So what do you say? You're too young for this, he said instead. I stared at him, disbelief spreading across my face. Screw this. I huffed in annoyance and pushed him away. Ugh. If you don't want to, then forget it, I snapped, irritation boiling over me. I turned on my heel and strode toward the door, grabbing the handle, ready to walk out. I opened it and before I could even get out, a strong hand slammed down over mine, stopping me. The warmth of his palm against my skin sent a jolt through my body, my breath caught in my throat as I turned to look at him. You're not going anywhere, he murmured, his tone a quiet warning. Flora's POV. Why are you stopping me now? Huh? What do you want? Instead of answering my question, the man started lecturing me like I was some kind of child. There are dangerous men out there who would take advantage of someone like you, especially when you're drunk. I scoffed, that's none of your business. I tried to push him away, but he didn't budge. Instead, I gasped when he suddenly grabbed my wrist, his grip firm but not painful. I glared at him, feeling a surge of frustration. It's very much my business because I'm the he blurted it out but suddenly stopped. I wanted to yell at him. To scream. To tell him that he had no right to interfere. But more than that, I wanted to tell him the truth. That I didn't have a choice. That I needed to be marked before my 18th birthday, or else I wouldn't survive. But I knew he wouldn't believe me. You have no right to tell me what I should do. Haven't you had a one-night stand? His eyes narrowed slightly, and to my surprise, he shook his head. I blinked, momentarily taken aback. His grip on my wrist loosened before he finally let go. A pure-blooded werewolf like him, someone with power, with strength, with women probably throwing themselves at his feet, and he had never been with anyone? I take my relationships seriously. His intense gaze locked onto mine, sending shivers down my spine. And you should, too. My jaw tightened, the words he said feeling like a slap in the face. Well, good for you, I muttered, my voice thick with frustration. But I'm not going to follow your advice. My heart pounded, not just with anger but with something deeper, something I couldn't fully understand. I turned sharply on my heel, my irritation boiling over. So, goodbye. I was determined to leave, to get as far away from him as possible. But before I could take another step, I gasped in shock as he suddenly lifted me off the ground. It happened so fast that my mind barely had time to process it. His arms were strong, so strong that he made it seem effortless, as if I weighed nothing at all. "What the hell are you doing?" I demanded, struggling against his grip. "Put me down. Let go of me, now." Heat rushed to my face, my cheeks burning as all the blood in my body seemed to surge toward my head. I thrashed against him, trying to free myself, but he was unyielding. His grip remained firm as he carried me across the room. Before I could fully register what was happening, he stopped, placed me down and turned to face me. His next words made my breath hitch. "Are you sure you want to have sex with me?" The directness of his question caught me off guard. He wasn't playing games. He was serious. Dead serious. I found myself staring into his eyes, those piercing eyes that seemed to pull me in like a force I couldn't resist. And before I knew it, I nodded. He parted his lips slightly as if he was about to say something, but before he could speak, I reached up and cupped his face in my hands. Then, without another thought, I kissed him again. A deep growl rumbled in his chest. The sound sent a shiver down my spine. It was raw, primal, filled with something that made my entire body heat up. I opened my eyes slightly as our lips moved against each other, and that's when I saw it. His wolf. It was resurfacing. His eyes, which had been filled with restraint moments ago, darkened, turning into a pitch-black abyss. He was aroused. His hands moved with purpose, fingers grazing my skin as he pulled me closer. I felt the heat radiating from his body, the undeniable hunger in his touch. And then, without hesitation, he stripped off my shirt. The cool air against my skin sent a jolt through me, bringing me back to my senses. A sudden wave of panic crashed over me, and I tensed. "Wait," I whispered against his lips. He paused instantly, his breath warm against my face. His eyes, still dark with desire, searched mine for an answer. "What is it?" I looked away, suddenly feeling self-conscious. My hands gripped his arms as I struggled to find the right words. I'm a virgin." Silence. I felt him freeze against me. Before he could take another step to leave, I grabbed his wrist and pulled him back toward me. My fingers tightened around his arm, my voice laced with desperation. "No, please." I swallowed the lump forming in my throat. "I really need this." I felt my chest tighten, my heart hammering so hard it hurt. "After that," I added in a softer voice, "I won't cause you any more trouble. I promise." His piercing eyes locked onto mine, filled with something unreadable. I could see the battle raging inside him. His jaw clenched, his muscles tensed. With a low growl, he pushed me down, pinning me beneath him. A startled gasp left my lips as he hovered over me. His heated gaze roamed over me, tracing every inch from my face down to my toes. My nakedness burned under his scrutiny, my breath growing uneven. I saw it then, the undeniable lust in his eyes. "I'll make sure you forget about that bastard ex of yours tonight." He leaned in, his lips mere inches from mine, his breath hot against my skin. His next words sent a shiver through me. "Because you're mine now."